The Post-it Podcast is brought to you by Dominion Real Estate, SEMA Business Consultants, Instant Balloon Stands, Farmers Insurance by Imelda Gonzalez, and South Texas Pressure Cleaning.
Welcome to another episode of the Post-it Podcast. I'm Cassandra Romero, and today I'm joined with Bri Alvarez. Hi.
Hi, Cassie. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
And today we are joined with our guest, Dr. Iris Guajardo. Hi, Dr. Guajardo. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, ladies.
We're so happy to have you on. And Dr. Guajardo has been an educator for over 27 years. She's been a teacher, assistant principal, a principal, and now she is the PSJA ISD Executive Officer of Education. So can you tell us a little bit like what your title entails?
Well, first of all, I really want to thank you, Cassie and Brianna, for inviting me here. This is my first podcast. Actually, I don't
We're
even
so
listen.
happy to be here first.
I don't even listen much to podcasts, but I know that they are an upcoming thing.
Yes.
So I'm glad to be here with you all. Brianna, I really wanted to congratulate you.
Thank you.
On the one-act play.
Yes,
and moving
congrats.
on to the regionals competition, right? So proud of PSJA Theater. I was a theater student at PSJA, not early college high school at that time, but I was a Bear theater student. All my 4 years of high school did children's shows and several one-act plays. So I'm real proud of PSJA Theater.
Thank you so much.
And excelling. So
Yeah, it's been a big
congratulations.
year. Yes.
Thank you so much.
much.
And so you've asked me about my title. I'm the executive officer for one of the executive officers for secondary schools. And so what that is I am in charge of all curriculum and instruction development for all of our middle school students. When I became the executive officer for secondary schools, I was in charge of some secondary high schools and some middle schools. And so there's two of us that are secondary executive officers. And at that time, we were in charge of feeder patterns, two feeder patterns. Currently, this year, we've been revamped, and so now I only have all of the middle schools. So I'm in charge of curriculum and instruction to support our middle school students, and then I'm also the campus principal supervisor. So I supervise everything that goes on in middle schools, which is a huge responsibility.
Definitely. We have like 8, right?
Yes, we have 8 middle schools in our PSJA ISD, and but middle school is really a passion for me. As you mentioned, I was a teacher, assistant principal, a principal, all at middle school level. And then I've served in this role at every level, elementary, middle, and high school. So I feel that over my 27 years, I've grown a lot, learned a lot, but there are great opportunities here for PSJA, and I'm just proud to be a part of it.
Yes.
That's so awesome.
And so tell us also, you said that you worked with the high schools and the middle schools, right? As the executive officer, but now you're in charge of the middle school. So what is that, the differences that you notice between the students and the staff, the administrators in the high schools, and then those students, staff, and administrators in the middle schools?
So, I mean, obviously, maturity is different, right?
Definitely.
But when I was working with both middle schools and high schools, and an alignment was very key to us. That transition that students make from the middle level, and that we're really preparing them to be prepared for the college experience that they may have in the high school, that was really important for us to develop curriculum and provide instructional strategies that were preparing students to be successful at the high school, and that alignment was very, very key. Now that I'm exclusively working with all of the 8 middle schools, to me, horizontal alignment is very critical. That the experiences that students get in the South Far area, at Escalante Middle School or at Kennedy Middle School, are the same that they would get at Vela Middle School or at Murphy Middle School. And so that curriculum alignment across all of our campuses and experiences that our students have is my responsibility to provide.
So you just mentioned how, you work super hands-on with, curriculum and making sure that all the kids are, being equipped educationally properly so the transition is very smooth. So what did inspire you to go into education in the first place?
I'm glad you asked that. So I come from a family of educators. My father was also a teacher and moved through the ranks, a principal, assistant superintendent, and a former superintendent, which is a goal of mine. I eventually want to become a superintendent and hopefully fill those father-daughter footsteps here in PSJA ISD. But if it doesn't happen at PSJA, I'm fine with that. I have a son who is still a student here at PSJA Early College High School, and I support all of his extracurricular activities that he does. So I really do want to continue to fulfill that as a parent. But for the next 2 years, while he's still in high school, I want to be a parent. And then after that, I have full reins to do whatever I need to do and move on to another district if I need to. But as I was mentioning, my father was a former superintendent. And so education was instilled in us, in me and my two older brothers' lives since we were very, very young. That foundation and that education is something that no one can take away from you. Although my mother did not graduate high school, and she only had up to a middle school education, she also was a para-educator, so kind of like an instructional aide for teachers and stuff. She worked through until she retired as an educator. So I grew up around education and understanding that foundation is really what's going to help you in the future to be successful. And so I continue to do that. I continue to try to communicate to anybody about the importance of education, about how that is something that no one will ever be able to take from you, and it's also going to be the open door for lots of opportunities.
Yeah, I always say that, like, your degree, your education, it's there for you with life. No matter what happens in your life, the name that you have on your degree, it's always going to be there. Like, no one can take away that education because you earned it, you worked for it, you went for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I can tell you a personal story, and I'm kind of letting you in, a very personal story. But when I was in my undergraduate school, when I was still working on my bachelor's degree, I got pregnant. And I have an older son. He is a teacher here.
Yes.
But at that time, my father came to me and, was disappointed, obviously, and said to me, please tell me you're not going to stop going to school.
Yeah.
I was still a junior in college. And I said, no, you've always instilled to me that importance. I'm going to figure out a way to do both. And so I did. And I graduated with my bachelor's degree. And 2.5 years later, 2 years later, I graduated with my master's degree. And it was at that time that I went to my father and I said, is this what you meant by don't stop going to school? And he was obviously very, very proud. And now, 20 years later after that, I also graduated with my doctorate degree. And so I think that's just being a role model for my own children, being a role model for anybody that can see that although you have hardships in your life, if you have the right passion and the right direction, you're going to be successful.
Definitely. And as you mentioned, you pursued your doctorate's degree a little over 2 years ago, right? And so tell us about that. You come from a family of educators that obviously inspired you. And so what really instilled, I guess, after 20 years, right? Your master's and then your doctorate's degree. What instilled in you, let me go back and let me get my doctorates?
So that's just a personal ambition. I have always been very ambitious in everything that I do. If you read my bio, you saw that I started teaching at 21 years old. I was pregnant at the time without my college degree yet, because at that time you could still you could start teaching in areas that were that were deficient, that needed teachers, that had a shortage.
Yes.
And so mathematics was one of those areas that had a shortage of teachers. And so I only had 90 hours yet, and not a full degree. But I was able to acquire a teaching position at that time. So I started teaching then, and just I've always been this ambitious person. What's my next step? What more can I do? I have an older brother who has a master's degree as well. I got it first. So I always want to one-up on somebody else,
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
And so nobody else in my immediate family has a doctorate degree. I'm the youngest of my family, and so I
Take pride.
felt like
As you
at
should,
that time
though, yes.
I wanted to. I was ready to do that. I went straight to apply and register, and within 2 years completed that over COVID time, which was a very, very difficult time to complete. Who knew that when I started, we were going to go into virtual instruction and things like that. But nonetheless, it serves as a role model for others and an inspiration to all of my family and to anybody else.
Yes, to us too. Yeah.
Who hears me.
Yes.
And
Thank you,
so
ladies.
you just mentioned how it was such a difficult time during COVID for virtual instruction, and definitely given your job position. What were the challenges that you faced when, like sort of adapting the curriculum to virtual instruction, because now it's like a 180. So what challenges did y'all face, and how did you overcome them?
So it was a very difficult time, because instructionally, all that we knew in strategies was traditional. Paper, pencil, books, students listening to the teacher face to face. We didn't even have the technology available. So there had to be lots and lots of work that went into that. I mean, that March 2020 that we went off, and after spring break, the team of leaders that included myself and others, we worked quite a bit to provide the resources to our students, and then really, like you said, transition the instruction, transition to strategies and pedagogy that was never even heard of. We know that there are virtual school districts out there that have been doing this for many years, but for most of our districts that were in brick and mortar were not that traditional, had to make huge transitions.
Yeah.
But I think that we were able to overcome lots of the challenges we were facing at that time, because that very next year, in 2021, all of our students were in virtual instruction. And now, in hindsight, we have still lots of our computers being used.
Yeah.
Google Classroom is still a big component of our
Definitely.
instruction. And so we have adapted to the way of the world, right? And so we haven't let that go. And I think we've equipped our students to be more successful in the future.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, because I mean we're moving into
College and
technology.
stuff.
Yeah, it's everything's starting to be more online, and so that's definitely helped prep us for
Yeah.
sure. So talk to us. You've been in the educational field, right, here at PSJA for 27 years. So you've seen I'm sure that you've seen some changes, good, right? Tell us about that evolution that you've experienced, that you've witnessed from the district.
So I'm really proud to have been a part of PSJA over these 27 years. Many different leaders that have come through, but I think with all the same vision. It is totally a different experience from when I went to school to the opportunities that our students have now. We want students to be, our ultimate goal is for students to be successful outside of high school, right?
Yeah.
Go on either to get their college degree or be ready for a career right outside of high school. And so the transition that we've made in the opportunities that we provide students to connect them to college early or to already put them in some trade work so that they are prepared to go into the real world and be successful citizens, that is something that it's just awe-inspiring to see that PSJA has been not only is the trendsetter in that. Many districts here in our region are following our footsteps, But I'm just very proud to have been a part of that evolution, because really who's to benefit? All of the students that are with us right now, but our entire community is what's going to be, in the next 10, 15 years, a lot more prosperous.
Definitely.
Yeah, because even then, like, I know that right now there's a dental assistant program, you know, there's welding, cosmetology, even like a CRN program, phlebotomy. And then I know there's also a real estate program that a lot of students are doing their senior year this year to get, you know, their real estate license, to do it next year after they graduate. And even then, I think PSJA is one of the districts that has the most students graduating with their associates by the time they graduate high school.
Yeah,
That's
we're
correct.
definitely the
Which is
trendsetters. Yes, the
correct.
pioneers.
And so I've seen that over the last, 8 years, because we are the leaders in students getting an associate's degree, then we have more students earning their bachelor's degree and going on to earn their master's degree or even doctorate degrees.
Yes.
And so who is benefiting from that? Our entire community.
Yeah, because then
if
those
they
people
do come back and serve here, our community, we are now a wealthier community. We are
Definitely.
now more prosperous. And
Yes,
so
exactly.
that's just awe-inspiring to be a part of.
Definitely. Well, like you mentioned, you take charge of the middle school campuses, right? So tell us how you plan with the staff and the administrators to make sure that the students are having the correct curriculum and learning to be prepared for high school and what's to come in the future.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I brought this book, Leverage Leadership by Paul Bambrick Santoyo. It is what I, use a lot to guide and coach my principals. I'm just a mentor to them. They are just as equipped as leaders and they are very knowledgeable. All of our 8 middle school principals this year, we have 5 new middle school principals out of the 8, but all of them were successful assistant principals or principals at the elementary level before that. But there are 7 levers that we go by, but the 2 super levers that we always talk about is data-driven instruction, using data to really differentiate needs for our students, as well as student culture and providing that safety for students. So those 2 things are things we always communicate as a team about. We're a small enough team that we're usually strategizing together. I see myself more, my leadership style is more as a coach and as a mentor, as an advisor. I'm available to them and my coordinators or strategists that work with curriculum and instruction. I'm there to support them and to drive their motivation and to help them be motivated to continue their work. So I don't, my leadership style is not to be a supervisor or to be, a boss. I am there as their inspiration. And so I really take that to heart.
Yeah, sort of like a guiding hand.
That's right.
Definitely. And you mentioned school safety, right? Like that the students feel safe. And I think that's so important to come into school and every day feel comfortable and confident in the campus that you're in, right? And I think that here at the high school, they do an amazing job. And same thing in middle school, although it kind of got short, right, with COVID. I definitely felt that way, welcoming, welcomed by everyone, right?
To feel the want to be at school every day and not have to dread it.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that the district does end up providing.
Right.
And I know that you did mention that, coming back to the community after you've left and you've got your degrees, to give back, to make the community more prosperous. You were a part of the SJ Civil Service Committee. So what does it mean, to give back to your community in these terms?
So I served in the Civil Service Committee, which was a committee that worked closely with the police department and our fire department and helped them, navigate through certain policies and things like that. But really, I am PSJA. I am a San Juanite. I may even want to, my father was also a former mayor of the city of San Juan, so that may be something that's in my future. But I believe that we are educating students now to be a part of a well-rounded person. So it's not only about education, it's how are we forming relationships, partnerships with everybody in the community. And so I think that it's really critical that we stay connected to people. And that's what a community affair means. that family relationship,
Yes,
that
definitely.
we really belong here, because when we feel we belong and we feel connected, then we're inspiring and motivating others to be that way.
And I think that's really like the PSJA family.
The motto.
Yeah, the motto, the PSJA proud. You know, you go pursue your dreams, you come back and you give back to the community. And you're a great example of that. A lot of our teachers on campus are a great example of that. So, I mean, I hope to do that, right, one day, whether it be come back as an educator or just someone in the community and just give back. Because truly, like, you were a bear, right?
Yep.
Once a bear, always a bear. Love to hear that saying. Yeah, so I don't know. I
And
love
definitely,
seeing
even
those
if
examples.
you don't move back here, there's always opportunities to come and stay connected here. Come and speak at conferences, or come and
exactly.
come to some of our community events and things like that. All of those things are important, that we are forming relationships, because when we're kind to each other, then we're being role models for others, right? And we're staying connected.
Yeah, to inspire other young people at PSJ, you know, that they can do the same thing, that they can go out and pursue what they want to do. And that's such a beautiful thing, like, to do.
Yes. So tell us about the Women in Leadership at Harvard Graduate School of Education. You were part of the first cohort of that. We talked a little bit about that. It was in your bio. So explain to the audience what that is.
Yeah, so in 2013, I was selected, myself and a previous administrator here in PSJ selected to participate in this Women in Leadership conference, really. It was a week conference at Harvard University. We were instructed by Harvard professors, and it was really, really inspiring, empowering, actually, for women.
Yeah.
It was mainly women leadership, not only in education, in many different fields. So just getting to know other CEOs, other leaders in other fields, and how it was really to empower each other. And I think that is something that I really believe in, that women need to stand up for themselves and be that empowering person for other women.
Exactly.
Right? And I'm proud to say that I'm Dr. Guajardo, and you too will eventually be some doctor of something as well. But that women empowerment is, we're breaking glass ceilings.
Yes.
And I think that's really, really important for us to believe, first of all, and then go for it. And don't let people close doors, even though sometimes they will be closed on you, but say, I'm a woman, I've gotten here, and I can do this.
And you can even go
and
farther.
so that Women in Leadership 2013, which was 14 years ago, was one of those first conferences that I started to really and truly believe that.
Well, that's
so
inspiring.
important.
Yes.
Because like, as a woman that, like, I want to pursue, STEM fields, and I want to go into places that, they are male dominated, and because, once I leave the Valley, I do realize, I do have an accent. And so being able to enter those spaces and, put my foot in the ground and say, I do deserve to belong here. I do deserve to do this.
Yes.
And it's something that you have done successfully. And it just inspires both of us who do want to end up pursuing careers, like, outside the Valley.
Any field, in any field, and especially, like you said, we want to go outside of the Valley. I want to come back, right? But pursue that education outside of the Valley. I know as a Latina, too, it's a little bit harder if you go outside of South Texas. But it's definitely empowering and remembering, you're a woman and your opportunities aren't diminished just because of what you are, who you are, right?
That's absolutely
yes,
right.
Exactly.
And so you mentioned the STEM, and so I know that you read in my bio, my bachelor's degree is in mathematics. I'm not an educator. I did not go through the education field. I'm actually a mathematician, is what you call it. And so I experienced exactly what you said. I went away to UT Austin, my very first year of college. Unfortunately, I was fairly homesick, so I came back home and completed here at UT Pan American at the time. But in my mathematics courses, it was overwhelmed. I mean, it was many males in the classroom and 2 or 3 females in the classroom. So it was then that I started to have to really set kind of that strength about, it doesn't matter what gender you are, you can do anything that you believe that you
exactly.
can.
Definitely.
Yeah. So definitely you can do anything you want, ladies. And don't let anybody tell you that you cannot.
And
you.
especially with doing anything that we want, that also has a lot to do with, you know, the opportunities that we're presented. And we're so lucky that PSJ provides all these opportunities. So for you, what opportunities has PSJ presented to you, and how have you benefited from them?
So, I mean, I'm just, again, very pleased to have gone this far, you know, in this pathway. I have pursued a long-standing career already, many different levels. And so I think that just what I've accomplished so far, I'm very, very grateful for.
Yes.
But I have more, right? I have more that I can do. And hopefully that will be an opportunity here in PSJA. And like I said, if not in another district, then that's okay. But I am just proud to say that I have gotten to this level and have had such success, because I do have connections across the region of strong Latina women, other leaders that we network together and we learn from one another. But to have a doctorate as a Latina, it's like 1% in the entire country. And so, you know, just to be a part of that, I feel accomplished.
Yes,
No, definitely.
Definitely. And you should be proud, because it is a very big feat. And obviously your accolades, you know, they go to prove that you're worth it.
You're
like,
deserving of it. Yes,
of your
definitely.
title.
Yes. So talk to us about the ultimate goal, right, for our students. That's your job here, right? To empower our educators and our administrators, our principals, so that they can then empower our students. And you're here empowering us, right, and inspiring us. So what is the ultimate goal of the students of the district?
I think I mentioned a little earlier that our ultimate goal is for students to be productive citizens.
Yes.
Right? And if that means getting a degree, a college degree, and pursuing a you know, career from that, great. That's what we want for that. That is the best case scenario. But if not, if going to a four-year college is not for our students, that we also connect them to having a successful career right outside of high school. So we provide, you know, welding or nursing or other things that those students, if they pass their certification exams, then they're ready to start their career immediately after high school. And so for us, we want to ensure that the pathways are there in preparation all the way from elementary. I mean, we are starting to serve students from pre-kinder 3-year-olds all the way through their high school career, but we are putting in their pathway that success and to inspire them that they can do that. So we always, like I say, are talking about instruction as well as safety and equipping them with those social emotional skills to be successful, to work in teams, to work with other people.
Definitely.
So our ultimate goal is that our students are successful outside of the time that they are with us.
Yes,
exactly.
Be productive citizens of society.
That's
right?
correct.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And so I know you also mentioned that your time here at PSJ is very familial. There's a lineage there. And, you know, you have a son here at PSJ. You went to PSJ, and, like, your family came to PSJ, like, here at Bears, Early College High School. So what does the phrase, once a bear, always a bear, mean to you?
So I was also a cheerleader at PSJ Bears. And so I think that is just tradition. That is
Tradition,
this
yes.
is home. If you ever experienced being a bear, then you never want to go anywhere else.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely
But
not.
just like you said, Cassie, I work for this district, and I'm very proud to be a part of all of the schools. So I do wear
Yes,
all
I love
of
it.
our
I love it. I
campuses.
love it. Yes.
all of our campuses. But I graduated a bear, and we live here very close.
Yes.
We live in the area, so that's our where my kids pertain to school, went to school. So Yes, I do believe in once a bear,
always a bear.
Yes, I love that saying. I genuinely love it. I'll be like, go Bears, once a bear. I feel like I bleed maroon and white, and a lot of my friends make fun of me for it. But it's like, no, like we come here. They provided us with so many opportunities, right? Like educationally, we have our friends, we have the teachers. Like, it's great. It's a great environment.
So why not have the pride to show it off?
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Guajardo, for joining us. We got to learn a little bit about you, your position here, what you do for all of us, right? And so I don't know, we can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Thank you, ladies. It was a pleasure being here with you both. I'm glad to have accepted this invitation, and hope that you learned a little bit about
yes,
me.
I did. We did. Yes,
it was so inspiring to hear you talk today.
Because that is my ultimate goal. That I'm just inspiring other students, but especially other girls.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for joining us on this episode of the Post-it Podcast. And remember, go Bears!
This Post-it Podcast was brought to you by Dominion Real Estate, SEMA Business Consultants, Instant Balloon Stands, Farmers Insurance by Imelda Gonzalez, and South Texas Pressure Cleaning.